the soul whispers.
There's a strange loneliness that comes from being the person everyone describes as kind, because the kindest people often become experts at disappearing. They become the ones who always understand, always forgive, always make room. They listen longer than anyone else. They stay when everyone else has already left. They give people second chances, then third chances, then chances they've stopped counting. At first, it feels noble. You tell yourself that this is what love looks like, that patience is strength, that understanding people makes the world a little softer, and sometimes it does. But there is another side to kindness that almost no one talks about, a kindness that doesn't heal, a kindness that slowly erases the person offering it. Not all wounds are created by cruelty. Some are created by constantly placing yourself second, by swallowing words you needed to say, by accepting behavior you knew was wrong, by convincing yourself that keeping the peace was more important than protecting your own. Little by little, you begin making yourself smaller. You laugh at jokes that hurt. You answer messages when you're emotionally exhausted. You apologize simply because someone else is uncomfortable. You become so focused on making everyone else's life easier that you forget to ask yourself a simple question: who is protecting me? The painful truth is that many people who are described as too kind are not actually too kind. They are too afraid of disappointing others, afraid of conflict, afraid of rejection, afraid that if they stop giving, people will stop loving them. And fear has a remarkable ability to disguise itself as virtue. It whispers that saying yes is kindness, that staying silent is maturity, that endless patience is unconditional love. But sometimes, those are not acts of love. Sometimes they are acts of self-abandonment. This video is not about becoming cold. It is not about distrusting people. It is not about playing psychological games or manipulating anyone. It is about seeing something clearly. Because the goal isn't to love less. The goal is to stop losing yourself while trying to love everyone else. Imagine a beautiful garden. Anyone is welcome to enter. Anyone can admire the flowers. Anyone can sit beneath the trees. It sounds generous until no one closes the gate. People begin walking wherever they like. Some pick the flowers, some break the branches, some leave without ever noticing the damage they caused. Eventually, the garden no longer looks beautiful. Not because flowers stopped growing, but because nothing was ever protected. Human kindness works in much the same way. Many people believe boundaries are walls. They think saying no makes them selfish. They believe protecting their energy means they are becoming cold. But boundaries are not walls, they are gates. A wall says no one can enter, a gate says not everyone should. There is an enormous difference. Healthy people understand this instinctively. They know that generosity without discernment eventually becomes exhaustion. Compassion without wisdom becomes self-sacrifice. Love without self-respect becomes dependency. The irony is that people often believe boundaries push others away, yet the opposite is usually true. Healthy people respect boundaries. People who become angry because you finally created one often reveal something uncomfortable. They didn't love the relationship. They loved the access. Think about that. How many people celebrated your kindness, and how many simply benefited from it? Those are not the same thing. There is a sentence worth remembering for the rest of your life. People do not disrespect kindness. They disrespect kindness without boundaries. When someone repeatedly interrupts you and you never say anything, they learn that your silence has no cost. When someone continually arrives late while you always wait, they learn that your time matters less than theirs. When someone speaks to you with disrespect and you convince yourself they didn't mean it, for the 10th time, they slowly stop questioning whether they can do it again. This isn't because people are inherently evil. It is because human beings constantly learn from what is tolerated. Every relationship is teaching both people what is acceptable, not through words, through patterns. That is why boundaries are not punishments. They are teachers. They quietly communicate something words often fail to express. This is how I expect to be treated. And perhaps the greatest act of kindness you can offer another person is not endless forgiveness. It is the honesty of letting them experience the consequences of their choices, because accountability is not the opposite of love. Sometimes it is love in its most mature form. Anything precious that is left completely unprotected eventually becomes something the world begins to take for granted. There is a freedom that arrives the day you stop trying to control how every person interprets your heart. Some people will misunderstand you no matter how carefully you speak. Some people need you to remain the villain because it protects the story they tell themselves. And some people were never listening in the first place. The healthiest people you will ever meet are not the ones who are understood by everyone. They are the ones who no longer build their identity on being understood by everyone. That is confidence, not certainty, not perfection. Just the quiet decision that your worth is no longer something other people vote on. Growth is a strange thing. When you become healthier, some relationships become healthier with you. Others quietly begin to fall apart. At first, this feels confusing. You become more honest, more peaceful, more self-aware. You stop saying yes when you mean no. You stop apologizing for existing. You stop chasing conversations that only leave you feeling smaller, and suddenly, people begin telling you that you've changed. Sometimes they say it with sadness, sometimes with disappointment, sometimes with anger. But change is not always the problem. Sometimes the problem is that your growth changes the role you used to play in someone else's life. Perhaps you were the one who always gave in, the one who always apologized first, the one who carried everyone's emotional weight, the one who tolerated behavior no one else would tolerate. When you stop playing that role, the relationship has to change. And not everyone wants that. Some people do not miss the real you. They miss the version of you that was easier to influence, the version that doubted itself, the version that stayed silent, the version that believed love had to be earned through endless sacrifice. This realization can be heartbreaking, because we naturally want to believe that everyone who smiled at us loved us. But sometimes they loved what they received from us. There is an important difference. Real love celebrates your growth. Possession resists it. Real friendship encourages your boundaries. Control fears them. Real respect allows you to become more yourself. Manipulation quietly depends on you becoming less. This doesn't mean everyone who struggles with your growth is a bad person. Sometimes people are simply frightened. Change forces everyone around us to adjust. An adjustment can be uncomfortable. The goal is not to judge people for that. The goal is to notice patterns. Words matter, but patterns reveal character. Anyone can promise, anyone can apologize, anyone can say they care. Character is revealed by what someone repeatedly chooses, when no explanation is required. If someone's words comfort you, but their actions continually wound you, believe the actions. If someone repeatedly crosses the same boundary after apologizing for crossing it, believe the pattern. Because patterns are where truth quietly lives. And perhaps one of the hardest lessons in life is this: potential is not reality. Many people stay in painful relationships because they fall in love with who someone could become, not with who they consistently choose to be. Hope is beautiful, but hope without honesty becomes a prison. You deserve relationships built on reality, not possibility. There is something I hope you never take away from this video. Do not become cold. The world already has enough cold people. Do not become suspicious of everyone. The world already has enough fear. Do not punish the people who love you because others failed to protect your heart. Keep your kindness, keep your compassion, keep your ability to see the good in people. Those are rare gifts, but let those gifts be guided by wisdom, because kindness is not measured by how much pain you can endure. Love is not measured by how much disrespect you can forgive. And maturity is not measured by how completely you disappear for the comfort of others. The healthiest people are not the ones who never get hurt. They are the ones who learn that protecting their peace is not selfish, it is necessary. There will always be people who mistake your boundaries for rejection. Let them. There will always be people who call your self-respect selfish because they benefited from your lack of it. Let them. Your responsibility is not to convince everyone that your boundaries are reasonable. Your responsibility is simply to live in a way that allows your heart to remain open without leaving it unprotected. Because a heart without walls is beautiful, but a heart without gates will eventually become exhausted. So stay kind, smile easily, forgive when forgiveness brings peace, love deeply, help generously, believe in people, but never again confuse kindness with surrender. The goal is not to become cold, the goal is to become clear, because when kindness is protected by wisdom, it doesn't become weaker, it becomes unstoppable. For those still listening, this is only the beginning. Subscribe.